Today I'm going to walk you through the process on how to install the RSA-AK-NTR on your Type 3 milled receiver. NTR stands for no tang removal. A Type 3 milled receiver has an upper and lower tang. The lower tang will need to be removed, but that can easily be replaced down the road if you decide to go back to your factory fixed stock. In today's video, I'm going to be using an Arsenal SAM7 to install the stock adapter onto. This does use a Type 3 milled receiver, and it has an upper and a lower stock tang. We're going to be removing this lower stock tang in order to install our adapter. Let's start off by disassembling our SAM7. Before disassembling our AK, we want to make sure that it is clear and safe and that there's no ammunition present in the area. To disassemble it, it's very simple. We're going to remove our dust cover, our recoil spring assembly, as well as our bolt and carrier. Now, in order to install the stock adapter, we are going to have to remove that factory stock as well as the pistol grip. To remove the grip, we're just going to need a flathead screwdriver. And then to remove the stock, this particular one requires a Torx bit. Your AK may differ. And then on the top, I just have a single Torx screw that needs to be removed. All right, and with those 3 screws removed, we can go ahead and remove our stock. And with the factory stock removed, you can see that this Type 3 milled receiver has an upper and lower tang. The upper tang is machined into the receiver, so if you remove that, that would be a permanent modification. The lower tang, however, is just riveted into place with these 2 rivets right here. And if you decide in the future to go back to your factory fixed stock, you can go ahead and just have this riveted back into place or even bolted into place there. But for today's purposes, we're going to be removing these 2 rivets and this lower tang to install our stock adapter. It's also important to note that the Type 3 milled receiver should have an upper and lower tang. If you have a version that only has the upper tang, then this adapter will not be compatible, as there's a cutout in this Type 3 milled receiver on the bottom. If you don't have a lower tang, you will not have that cutout and you will not be able to install the stock adapter without modifying your receiver. In order to remove these 2 rivets, I'm going to use a 5/32 drill bit, just to drill them enough so that I can punch them through the receiver and remove the lower tang. So in order to do that, I'm going to center punch these prior to drilling, and then if needed, use a flat file to give yourself a flat surface, just to make it a little bit easier to center punch and drill. And you don't want to drill all the way through the receiver. You just want to drill through the rivet head enough to where you can then take a punch and punch it down through the receiver. Each rifle is going to vary slightly. This one was a little tricky. So I started off with my smaller 5/32 drill bit here, but there was still a lot of mushrooming around the sides. So I went up to just a larger drill bit just to kind of knock some of the rivet off of the edges. And then from there, I was able to punch them both through. And you can see the lower tang here removed. Those are those 2 rivets, kind of still partially in there. But from this end here, we now are free. And these holes we are going to use to install our stock adapter. The RSA-AK-NTR comes with 2 sets of hardware for installation. A lower set, which is going to consist of 2 smaller screws, a larger screw, and then this lower mounting block. And then an upper, this portion here is just going to sit inside of the rear of the receiver, and it's going to attach using a single screw. To attach this hardware, you're going to need 2 Allen wrenches, a 3/16 for the larger screws, and a 3/32 for the smaller screws. Let's start off by loosely attaching this lower mount to the RSA-AK-NTR. Now we're not going to be fully torquing this into place. We're just going to lightly screw this in here just so it stays where we need it to, and then we're going to insert this into the back of the receiver. Now you can see these 2 screw holes are going to line up with the rivet holes from the lower tang that we removed. And that's where we're going to be running our 2 smaller screws. Using the 3/32 Allen wrench, I'm going to go ahead and screw these into place. And again, I'm not applying my final torque, I'm just getting them into position. All right, now those are loosely affixed. I'm going to go ahead and attach the upper portion of the mount. So we have this round piece is going to go towards the rear of the receiver, and then this slanted piece is going to go towards the top. And before you attach this upper portion, you want to make sure that this is flush with the receiver. If you tighten this too much at the beginning, it'll be kind of pulled out like so, and you won't be able to install the upper portion. So make sure these 2 surfaces are flat. And you'll be able to see in the rear of your receiver, there's a little notch that this portion fits into. And then once you have that in place, we can go ahead and tighten up the rest of our hardware, starting with the 2 smaller screws in the bottom. And then finally, we're going to tighten that bottom screw here and make sure that top one is torqued up as well. Now, as far as the torque goes, you want to just tighten it until you feel it stop, and then go about a 1/4 turn past that. I recommend cleaning and degreasing all the threads and applying a medium strength thread locker. At this point, our RSA-AK-NTR is installed. We can reassemble our firearm and attach our 1913 stock or brace. And after a quick reassembly, the installation process is complete. The RSA-AK-NTR is attached, and you can see I've added a triangle stock using the FMSM 1913 folding mech. If you have any questions regarding the installation process or any products from JMac Customs, you can reach out using the contact form on the JMac Customs website. Thanks for watching.